Polo Sandoval is on the line with us because I understand, Polo, that there is a bus with children trying to leave, but the crowd of people that have gathered there are not letting that happen. Explain.
Well, Fred, we're trying to find out exactly who is aboard that bus right now. These are the buses that are traditionally used to transport detainees in and out of Border Patrol facilities. As they're processed, you can't actually see inside except to see just some silhouettes and some of the people who are detained in the bus. Let me tell you what just happened about 5-10 minutes ago here. There was what was a peaceful demonstration initially that was being led by the civil rights group LULAC right in front of the processing facility in McAllen, Texas, only a couple of miles north of the U.S.-Mexico border. As this bus began to pull out of the facility, that is when these demonstrators essentially spilled out onto the street and then blocked the path of this large bus. Border Patrol agents to clear the roadway unsuccessfully, and now police officers with the McAllen Police Department have been called to try to clear the route here. But as you can imagine from some of these pictures that we're bringing to you live right now here from McAllen, that's certainly going to be challenging. I'm looking at a human, basically a human rope of a human chain of Border Patrol agents in front of the facility, making sure that there would be no actual protesters that make their way out of the facility itself. So again, just some fairly tense moments that are unfolding here in the city of McAllen, Texas, as demonstrators block the path of what appears to be a detainee transport vehicle, Fred.
And then, Polo, stay on the line with me because we do have some of the images and sound taken just moments earlier where people were yelling near that bus. Let's listen in, and perhaps you can tell me what is being said since you were there.
We're coming for him in 2020, and we're coming for his Congress in 2018. You better tell Mr. Trump that we're here for him, and aquí estamos, Mr. Trump, and no le vamos. We're not going anywhere. This is our country. This is our país. Our people that fought and died for this country. Leave these children alone.
So Polo, I could make out a little portion there. He says, we are there for them, meaning, justifying why he and others are there. Is he presumably, one of the leaders of the group that you just mentioned who have gathered there?
What do you believe in God?
And that's correct, Fred. That's the messaging that we heard this morning. Keep in mind, this is following what was a visit by some representatives, some lawmakers, Democratic lawmakers, to this very facility just a couple of hours ago. They obviously have since cleared out. And so a couple of hours later, what we have are these demonstrators that were, it's my understanding, were led by LULAC, the League of United Latin American Citizens, several members here in Texas, who came in to basically have a demonstration. And I do have to tell you what I'm looking at right now, Fred, and I'm not sure if you can see those images with me, but looking into the bus, and you can make out the silhouettes of people that are behind the cage, the cage structure that is installed in this bus, and those people will be waving. I can see what appear to be men and women, and a small hand. There is a small child in that bus, which is obviously why many of these people are here.
All right, Polo Sandoval, thank you so much. Again, Polo's on the phone there, and we also have our live cameras there. As you see, a number of people in McAllen, Texas, who have gathered. Many of them have been demanding the release and the reunification of children to parents. And now Polo was describing there is a bus there. He described that there was like a small hand that was seen, but we don't know all the details about who is on the bus, where they're being taken to or entering, etc. But I do want to bring in Donna Abbott. She is the Director of Refugee and Immigrant Programs with Bethany Christian Services in Grand Rapids, Michigan. And so, Donna, what's your understanding about, McAllen, Texas is one place, but there are dozens of facilities across the country that have either children or parents or both. But what's your understanding about the kind of treatment, services, aid, counseling, supplies, all of that some of these kids who have been separated from their parents are receiving in these facilities?
Sure, I can't speak for the other facilities. I can speak for what Bethany provides. Bethany provides the children with a case manager, with a clinician. They attend a school where a teacher has been informed on trauma-informed teaching, and the children are in foster care. So those are the kind of services we provide, and the case manager works very hard at identifying not only the parent but other potential family members who could provide care, and being sure that the child has communication with parent and or other family members.
So then, Donna, help me understand, and now we're looking at a tighter picture. You can see the silhouettes of people who are on board that bus, by the way, as you and I are talking. So if I have to interrupt you to get more information about what's happening here, my apologies in advance. But tell me then, how is Bethany used? I mean, are you all contracted to assist in some of these sites? Are you contracted to actually, service some of these sites? Are you carrying out some of these detention facilities? Help me understand your role.
Yeah. We don't see ourselves as a detention facilities. Children go to school, they move around the community, they're with families, go to movies, parks on the weekend. We feel that, if children can't be with their own family, then this family-like an environment is the most appropriate placement for any child, let alone a child who's experienced trauma. So we work very hard to make sure that children and their foster family understand it's a transitional placement. It has always been the intent to reunify children and parents whenever possible. This is a program that has been in existence for a number of years, helping unaccompanied children. Those are children separated unavoidably, either in the chaos in their country or in flight. So we have well-trained foster parents in assisting children who are looking to reunify with family members when they've been separated. And certainly this is a unique situation that has been purposeful.
I'm sorry to interrupt real quick. I want to bring back Polo here, because Polo, as we're looking at these tight pictures of the silhouettes, I feel like I got a glimpse of what appeared to be a little girl, in the window of this bus. Is the bus in motion? Because the camera's in motion, but I can't tell. Is the bus in motion? Where is it going to? What are you understanding of what's happening here?
We can only speak to what traditionally happens, or at least what we've seen all morning long. We've seen these white unmarked buses leave this facility in the South McAllen and transport many of these people who've been detained and oftentimes charged for entering the country illegally. It's very important that we point out that we are not aware of the circumstances of the people who are aboard this bus here. But when you look inside, you can see those silhouettes, you can see hands, you can see adult hands, and obviously the hands of children, as this bus is forced to take a different route to another facility. Fred.
So just to recap, if I can get a better understanding. So you're saying this bus was trying to enter this facility at McAllen, or was it exiting?
Fred, when all of this happened, this bus was in the process of leaving this processing facility, the facility that many of these families are brought to, are taken to rather, to be processed before they're taken to other detention facilities. So in this case, what we saw was this bus was leaving the facility when the civil rights group had noticed it and then tried to get in the way of the bus, and were able to do so and force the bus to then go the other direction.
Right, and then Claire, we don't know, after it has left the processing facility, we don't know where it's going, whether it's going to a detention facility, whether people are being transported to somewhere out of state. We just don't know.
But Fred, if you would like, we can hear from some of the demonstrators. Hello, ma'am, you're live on CNN.
Yeah.
What did you see? What happened? Who do you think was in there?
Bueno, eran los niños, vi sus caritas tristes que miraban por la ventana hacia abajo a nosotros.
She says that she was obviously stricken with emotion when she saw inside, and she saw the small hands of these children.
Chiquitas, unas manos chiquitas, unas más grandes, y nos hacían así.
Larger adult hands.
Nos saludaban, pero
back.
sus caritas tristes, desconcertadas. Eso es lo que vi de esos niños y se los llevaron.
Gracias, señora. Muchas gracias. Fred, that'll give you an idea of what played out here in South McAllen. The group is obviously being pushed back now. We know that federal agents are up in the air. I recognize that helicopter up there as a helicopter that is operated by Customs and Border Protection. Authorities here certainly had to call in reinforcements when all of this took place, having to rely on local police as well to try to clear the road. I did see during a few moments that some heavily armed and prepared law enforcement officers did get called in and stood by, just watched as they tried to bring this to a peaceful end. And it appears that that may have been the case. We're going to try to find out if anybody had to be detained or arrested as a result of this. But, you know, just to put a button on this, it certainly shows you that emotions are certainly high. This is an emotionally charged issue. Add children into the mix here, into the immigration debate, and people are certainly going to feel extremely strong about their positions.
Yeah, okay. Polo Sandoval, thank you so much. Very clear. It's very upsetting, just by way of the woman that you just spoke to, who was very moved over the vision of kids that were on that bus. Still unclear where that bus will be going after leaving this processing facility there in McAllen. All right, thank you so much.